So as we get to the end of our discussion of Proverbs, we get ready to talk about Ecclesiastes. I'd like to share some personal perspectives, some thoughts I have about some possible connections with the proverbial literature and the themes that go on in Proverbs and Nephi in the Book of Mormon. Now you'll notice, as we've been talking about, a wise person listens to an inspired leader or parent and takes the time to document those wise sayings, live them, and to transmit or teach those wise sayings to others. We see Nephi doing that, whereas Laman and Lemuel seem to be the fools who don't understand the wise sayings from the father and don't know how to live them. They appear also to not be paying attention to their wise mother. So there's some interesting connections here that Nephi seems to be a bit of a wise man. And there's some tantalizing details. For example, in the ancient world, wisdom literature, particularly Proverbs, were often used in schools to teach people how to write. So years ago when I was a graduate student, I had in my hand an ancient tablet. It was a schoolboy's tablet. And on one side was beautiful written cuneiform, an ancient written language. And it was a proverbial statement. It was like one of these wise sayings. If you turn it over, this clay tablet, it's really messy writing. And what had happened is the teacher had written out this proverbial statement and then wanted the student to practice writing. Now think about how kids look like when they're 5 or 6 or 7, learning to write the alphabet. It looks messy. So we had this scribal tablet from thousands of years ago where a student learning how to write was practicing, not very good at it, but not only is he learning a technical skill of writing, he's also encountering and experiencing the wisdom of his culture. Very powerful. Now pay attention to this detail. Nephi knows how to write. So he may have gone to one of these scribal schools where they may have used as the curriculum lots of these wise sayings that he'd have to copy out. And I'd encourage you, when you read 1 Nephi, you might find it instructive to look at Nephi as a wise man and look at the themes of Proverbs. I'd say particularly chapters 1 through 9. What themes do you see playing out there? Even if you grab half a dozen themes, go back and look at 1 Nephi, that whole book. And where do you see themes of wisdom coming out? And then ultimately, what does this teach us about how we can be wise, like Nephi, to be aligned with God and to be more fully in his presence? So that might be a fun little learning exercise, but ultimately it just builds my testimony of the Book of Mormon that Nephi seems to fit very well his ancient context as a writer and as a wise man based on what we know about how the Old Testament functions.